I reached into my jacket pocket, feeling the folded letter through the fabric. Still there. Still real. The funeral home's viewing room felt too warm, or maybe that was just me. 72 years old, and I still couldn't regulate my body temperature when emotions ran high. The carpet was that specific shade of funeral home burgundy, the kind that's supposed to hide stains and sadness. It wasn't working. My wife's casket sat at the front of the room, closed now. Eleanor had requested that. No one needs to see me like that, she'd told me 3 weeks before the end. Let them remember me laughing. That was Eleanor. Even dying, she was thinking about other people's comfort. I stood near the back, watching people filter in. Neighbors, friends from her book club, the ladies from her quilting circle, all of them crying into tissues they pulled from purses that probably still held Eleanor's phone number. My son Marcus arrived with his wife Jennifer. They were late, but that wasn't unusual. Jennifer didn't like being on time for things she considered obligations. Marcus hugged me. Solid, genuine. My boy had Eleanor's eyes, that warm brown that made you feel safe. Dad, I'm so sorry. His voice cracked. She loved you so much, I said, right to the end. Jennifer hung back, phone in hand. She wore black, which was appropriate, but somehow she made mourning look like an inconvenience. Her lips were pressed into that thin line she got when she was bored or annoyed, usually both. William. She didn't hug me. Hadn't in years. Lovely service. It wasn't a service. It was a viewing, but I didn't correct her. Eleanor always said, pick your battles, William. Save your energy for wars that matter. Thank you for coming, I said instead. She glanced at her phone. When's the lawyer thing? The will reading? Marcus shot her a look. Jen, not now. I'm just asking. We have to drive back tonight. I have that meeting tomorrow. The meeting. Always a meeting. Jennifer worked in pharmaceutical sales and never let anyone forget it. Made good money too. She reminded us of that often, usually when explaining why she couldn't help with something or visit more often. Tomorrow morning, I said quietly. 10 a.m. at Peterson and Associates downtown. Downtown. Jennifer's nose wrinkled like I'd suggested meeting in a sewer. Can't they just email it or something? It's a will reading, not a pizza delivery, Marcus said. His jaw was tight. He was embarrassed. I felt bad for him. I'll be there, I said. You two don't have to come if it's inconvenient. Oh, we'll be there. Jennifer's tone shifted. Suddenly she was very interested. Of course we'll be there. Eleanor was family. Was past tense. Like my wife of 50 years had already become a memory to be filed away. I turned back toward the casket. Couldn't look at Jennifer's face anymore. That expression she wore, the one that calculated value, while pretending to care. I'd seen it before, usually when she was sizing up our house or asking Eleanor about her jewelry collection. The evening crawled by. People said kind things. Told stories. Mrs. Henderson from next door cried. So hard, I had to get her water. Eleanor had helped her through her own husband's death 5 years ago. She was there every day, Mrs. Henderson sobbed. Every single day with soup and company. That was Eleanor. She showed up for everyone. Around 8, people started leaving. Work in the morning. Lives to get back to. The funeral director, a soft-spoken man named Roger, approached me gently. We'll close up in 30 minutes, Mr. Williams. Take your time. I nodded, walked to the front, stood before the casket with my hand on the smooth wood. Cherry. Eleanor had picked it out herself from a catalog. Don't let them overcharge you, she'd said, circling options with a shaky pen. This one's fine. Looks nice but doesn't cost a fortune. Even dying, she was protecting me from getting ripped off. I miss you already, I whispered. This house is going to be so quiet. The casket didn't answer. Of course it didn't, but I half expected it to. Expected Eleanor to sit up, laugh, say this was all a terrible mistake. She'd done that once before, decades ago, when doctors said she had 6 months to live from a misdiagnosed condition. She'd beaten it. Come home. Made me breakfast. This time was different. This time the cancer won. Behind me, Footsteps. Marcus. Dad? You ready? Yeah. I wasn't. Yeah, let's go. We walked to the parking lot together. Jennifer was already in their car, engine running, face lit by phone glow. Marcus paused, keys in hand. Dad, about tomorrow. Don't let Jen's attitude get to you. She's just stressed with work. It's fine, son. It's not fine. I know how she is. He looked tired. 43 years old and my son looked exhausted. Mom left you everything, right? In the will. I met his eyes. You'll find out tomorrow. I don't care about the money, Dad. I just want to make sure you're taken care of. That was true. Marcus was a good man. Eleanor had raised him right. Jennifer had other priorities. I'll see you tomorrow, I said. Hugged him again. Drive safe. Watched them pull away. Jennifer never looked up from her phone. The house waited for me in darkness. I'd left before dawn, and now it was past 9. 14 hours away from the place Eleanor and I had shared for 47 years. It felt wrong coming home without her, like breaking some unspoken rule. I turned on lights. Too many lights. Trying to fill the space with something besides emptiness. The kitchen still smelled faintly of the casserole Mrs. Henderson had brought 3 days ago. Eleanor's reading glasses sat on the counter, where she'd left them last Tuesday. Her book, half finished, spine broken at page 247. A mystery she'd never solve. I picked up the glasses, folded them carefully, set them back down. Couldn't put them away yet. That would make it too real. The letter in my pocket felt heavier. I pulled it out, unfolded it. Eleanor's handwriting, shaky from medication but still distinctly hers. Loops and curves I'd been reading for 5 decades. My dearest William, it started. I'd read it 100 times already but couldn't stop. If you're reading this, I'm gone. Don't be sad. Well, be sad, but not forever. You have too much life left to waste at mourning me properly. That was such an Eleanor thing to write. Permission to grieve, but not permission to stop living. The letter continued with instructions. Practical things. Who to call about her magazine subscriptions. Where the important documents were. How to work the thermostat she'd always controlled. And then, at the end, the part that mattered most. About the will reading. She'd written. Trust me, I've handled everything. Don't let anyone make you feel guilty. You deserve every bit of happiness left in this world. I love you forever and a day. You're Eleanor. Trust me. She'd underlined it twice. I folded the letter, tucked it back in my pocket, sat at the kitchen table in the same chair I'd sat in for 47 years. The chair across from me was empty, would always be empty now. Sleep didn't come easy that night. I lay in our bed on my side, leaving her side untouched. The sheets still smelled like her lavender lotion. I breathed it in until I couldn't anymore, then got up, showered, dressed in the dark. 4 in the morning. Too early for anything productive, but too late to pretend I'd sleep again. Made coffee. Strong black. Eleanor used to tease me about it. You could strip paint with that, she'd say, adding cream to her own cup until it was barely brown. I sat in the living room as dawn crept through the windows. The house woke up around me. Furnace clicking on. Refrigerator humming. All the sound of a home that didn't know its heart had stopped beating. By 9, I was dressed in the suit Eleanor had helped me pick out last year. Navy blue. She'd said it made my eyes look younger. I'd argued I was 72, and my eyes looked exactly 72. She bought the suit anyway. The drive downtown took 40 minutes. I arrived early, parked in the garage, sat in my car for 15 minutes just breathing. The law office was on the 16th floor of a glass building that reflected morning sun like a mirror. Inside, everything was marble and expensive silence. Peterson and Associates. Gold letters. Thick glass doors. A receptionist who looked about 25 smiled professionally. Good morning. Do you have an appointment? Well, reading. Eleanor Williams. 10 o'clock. Her smile softened. I'm so sorry for your loss. Conference room B. Down the hall, second door on the left. Can I get you coffee or water? I'm fine. Thank you. Conference room B had a table that could seat 12. I took a seat facing the door. Watched the clock tick from 9:47 to 9:52. At 9:54, Marcus arrived alone. Where's Jennifer? I asked. Parking. She wanted to take a call. He sat next to me, loosened his tie. Dad, whatever happens today, you know I'm okay, right? I don't need anything. I just want to make sure you're secure. Before I could respond, the door opened. Jennifer swept in wearing a black dress that probably cost more than my suit. Her heels clicked against the floor. Professional smile plastered on. William. Marcus. She sat across from us, pulled out her phone, set it face down on the table. So, let's get this done. I have that meeting at 2. Marcus opened his mouth, but I put my hand on his arm. Not worth it. The lawyer entered at exactly 10. Thomas Peterson, senior partner. I'd met him once before when Eleanor and I updated our wills 15 years ago. He'd aged well. Still had that careful, measured way of moving that lawyers develop. Carrying other people's secrets makes you walk differently. William. Marcus. Mrs. Williams. He nodded to each of us. Set down a leather folder. I want to express my deepest condolences. Eleanor was a remarkable woman. Thank you, I said. Jennifer shifted in her seat, impatient already. Thomas opened the folder, pulled out documents. Shall we begin? Please, Jennifer said. He didn't look at her, focused on me. William, as you know, Eleanor came to see me 6 months ago. She wanted to update certain provisions in her will. We spent considerable time discussing her wishes. 6 months ago. That would have been May, right after her diagnosis. Right after the doctors said there was nothing more they could do. She was very clear about what she wanted. Thomas continued, very specific. I'm going to read the will as written, but I want you to know she made these decisions with complete clarity and sound mind. Of course she did, I said. Eleanor was sharp until the end. Jennifer leaned forward. So what does she leave? The house is worth what now? $400,000? Plus there's a savings in the life insurance. Thomas glanced at her. Just a flicker. Then back to his documents. Let me read the will and all questions will be answered. He cleared his throat. Started reading in that measured lawyer voice. The formal language. I, Eleanor Rose Williams, being of sound mind and body. The preliminaries took 5 minutes. Legal stuff about executors and witnesses. I half listened. Watched Jennifer's face. She was trying to look solemn, but her eyes were bright, calculating. Then Thomas reached the important part. To my beloved husband William, I leave the following. Jennifer sat up straighter. The house at 428 Maple Drive, including all furnishings, personal effects, and contents therein. All bank accounts in my name, including savings and checking. My vehicle, my jewelry, to be kept or distributed at his discretion, and the sum of $50,000 for my life insurance policy. I nodded. We discussed this. The house was paid off. The savings would keep me comfortable. $50,000 was generous for burial expenses and cushion. The remaining $450,000 for my life insurance policy. Jennifer's eyes widened. $500,000 in life insurance. Eleanor had been practical about that. Took out a big policy 30 years ago when they were cheap. Paid into it faithfully. Will be divided as follows. Here it comes, I thought. Thomas looked directly at Marcus. To my son Marcus Williams, I leave $100,000 to be received immediately upon settlement of this estate. Marcus's eyes went wide. Mom, you didn't have to. There's more, Thomas said. Looked at Jennifer. To my daughter-in-law Jennifer Williams, I leave the sum of $5,000. The room went silent. The kind of silence that is weight. That presses down on everything. Jennifer's face went through several expressions. Confusion. Disbelief. Then anger. Red, burning anger. 5,000? That's it. Thomas continued reading like she hadn't spoken. The remaining $345,000 will be placed in a charitable trust to be distributed as follows. $100,000 to St. Mary's Hospital Cancer Research. $100,000 to the Oak Valley Library, which Eleanor frequented and loved. $75,000 to the Animal Rescue League, where Eleanor volunteered for 20 years, and $70,000 to be distributed among various local charities at the executor's discretion. He set down the paper, folded his hands, looked at Jennifer. Eleanor left a personal note to accompany these provisions. Would you like me to read it? Yes. Jennifer's voice was ice. I would very much like to hear what Eleanor had to say. Thomas pulled out another sheet. Eleanor's handwriting visible even from where I sat. This letter is addressed to Jennifer. Dear Jennifer, I'm sure you're surprised by these provisions, perhaps even angry. Let me explain. For 20 years, I watched you treat my son like an accessory and my husband like a bank account. I watched you skip family dinners, ignore holidays, and show up only when you needed something. Marcus's face had gone pale. He stared at his hands. Thomas continued, I watched you pressure Marcus to ask us for money, for the boat you wanted, for the kitchen renovation, for the vacation house. I watched you roll your eyes when I talked about volunteering. I heard you tell your friends at that Christmas party 3 years ago that you were just waiting for the old folks to kick it so you could get your inheritance. Jennifer stood up. This is ridiculous. You can't. Sit down, I said quietly. Something in my voice made her sit. Thomas kept reading. I don't write this with bitterness. I write it with clarity. You've shown us who you are. I believe you, so I've made arrangements accordingly. Marcus gets what he deserves because he's a good man who's never asked us for anything. You get $5,000, which is more generosity than you've ever shown our family. The rest goes to causes that actually matter, places where kindness exists, where people help each other without keeping score. The letter continued. William, my love, don't feel guilty. Don't let anyone make you feel guilty. You've been the best husband, the best father, the best man I could have hoped for. Live your life. Enjoy the house. Travel if you want. Date again if you meet someone wonderful, though I'll haunt her a little just to keep her honest. I smiled. Couldn't help it. Even dead, Eleanor was making me smile. Marcus, you're going to be fine. Use that money wisely. Maybe finally take that photography course you've always talked about. I believe in you. I always have. Jennifer, I hope this teaches you something. Probably it won't. But I tried. All my love, Eleanor. Thomas set down the letter. The room stayed silent. Jennifer's face had gone from red to white, shock settling in over anger. This is insane, she finally said. She can't do this. She absolutely can, Thomas said. The will is legally sound. Witnessed. Notarized. Completely valid. I'll contest it. Jennifer's voice shook. I'll get a lawyer. This is elderly abuse or undue influence or something. You can try, Thomas said mildly. You'd lose. Eleanor was evaluated by 2 separate doctors before updating this will. Both certified her mental competency. Both statements are attached to the estate documents. Plus, she recorded a video explaining her reasoning. Would you like to see it? Jennifer opened her mouth, closed it, opened it again. A video? Thomas pulled out a tablet, tapped the screen. Eleanor's face appeared, thinner than I remembered her, paler, but her eyes were clear, alert. She was sitting in this very office, sun coming to the window behind her. Hi, Jennifer. Eleanor's voice came through the speakers, strong despite everything. If you're watching this, it means you've just heard the will, and you're probably pretty upset. That's okay. I expected that. I want you to understand this isn't about punishment. It's about consequences. You spent 20 years showing my family exactly how little we matter to you. Actions have consequences. That's not mean. That's just life. She paused, took a breath. I'm not angry with you. Honestly, I feel sorry for you. You've been so focused on money and status and things that you've missed out on what actually matters. Love, family, moments. Marcus is a good man, but you've never appreciated him. You just used him as a ladder to climb towards something you think you want. Eleanor looked directly at the camera, directly at Jennifer through time. Maybe this will wake you up. Maybe it won't. Either way, my family is protected. My money goes to places where it'll do actual good. And William gets to live his remaining years in peace, without you circling like a vulture waiting for him to die too. The video ended. The screen went dark. Jennifer sat frozen. Her phone buzzed on the table. She didn't even look at it. Marcus spoke first. Mom was right. His voice was quiet but firm. About all of it. Marcus, Jennifer started. No. He turned to her. No. I've heard you, Jen. I've heard you for years. Complaining about having to visit. Talking about when we finally inherit. Making jokes about the house and the money and how much it would be worth. I heard all of it. I just didn't want to believe my wife was that person. I'm not. You asked me last month how long Dad was likely to live. Marcus's voice broke. Your exact words were, how long until William kicks it? That's my father. That's the man who taught me to ride a bike and paid for my college and gave me a place to stay rent-free when I was between jobs. And you asked me how long until he dies. Jennifer's face crumpled. Real tears now. But I couldn't tell if they were grief or just frustration at being caught. I think, Marcus said slowly, you should leave. Leave. This meeting. This building. Maybe our marriage too. He stood up. I think you should leave all of it. You can't be serious. Jennifer looked between us. William, tell him. Tell him this is insane. I met her eyes. Didn't feel anger. Didn't feel satisfaction. Just tired. Eleanor was right about you. She's been right for years. I've known it. Marcus has known it. We just didn't want to admit it because you're family. But family is supposed to mean something more than shared last names and legal documents. I've been a good wife. You haven't. Marcus's voice was firm now. Strong. You've been a present wife. There's a difference. You've shown up when required, participated when necessary, but you've never actually been there. Not really. Not in any way that matters. He turned to Thomas. The 100,000. Mom left that to me, right? Not jointly to Jen and me. Thomas checked the document. Correct. Specifically to Marcus Williams. Individual property, not marital. Good. Marcus looked at Jennifer. You can keep the 5,000. Use it for a lawyer if you want to contest this thing. You'll spend more than that and lose anyway. Or use it for first month's rent somewhere. I don't really care. But I want a divorce. Jennifer stood up so fast her chair tipped backward. You're choosing them over me? She's dead. Mom's dead. Marcus said quietly. Dad's right here. And yeah, I'm choosing the people who actually love me over someone who's been using me as a meal ticket for 2 decades. She grabbed her phone, shoved it in her purse. You'll regret this. I don't think I will. She looked at me. Last attempt. William, please. You know me. We're family. No, I said. You married into my family. But you never became part of it. There's a difference. Eleanor saw that difference. So did I. So did Marcus. We just hoped you'd change. People don't really change. They just get more like themselves. Jennifer stared at me for a long moment. Then she turned, walked to the door, paused with her hand on the handle. That meeting I have? At 2? It's actually a lunch date with a man I've been seeing for 6 months. So maybe Marcus isn't the only one ready to move on. She left. The door clicked shut behind her with that heavy sound expensive doors make. Marcus sank into his chair, put his head in his hands. His shoulders shook. I moved my chair next to his, put my arm around him the way I had when he was little and had scraped knees or hurt feelings. I'm sorry, son. Don't be. His voice was muffled. You and Mom were right. You were both right. I just didn't want to see it. Love makes us blind sometimes, I said. Your mother taught me that. Said she'd been blind to plenty of my faults over the years. Thomas cleared his throat gently. I should give you two some privacy. William, the estate settlement will take a few weeks, but it's straightforward. Marcus, your portion will be available within 30 days. I'll call you both when the paperwork is ready. We shook hands. He left his card, disappeared into the hallway with his leather folder and Eleanor's careful plans. Marcus and I sat in that conference room for another 20 minutes. Didn't talk much. Didn't need to. Sometimes being together is enough. Finally, he wiped his eyes. Mom recorded that video. She knew this would happen. Your mother was smart. Saw things clearly, even when the rest of us didn't want to look. The charities, Marcus said. That's perfect. That's so her. She volunteered at that animal shelter every Wednesday for 20 years. Never missed a day unless she was sick. And even then, she called to make sure the dogs got walked. Marcus smiled. Sad but real. Remember when she brought home that three-legged cat? Said nobody else would adopt him. Mr. Pickles. He lived 15 years. Outlived most of the four-legged cats. Mom said broken things deserve love too. Marcus's voice cracked. Maybe that's why she left Jennifer the $5,000. One last attempt at teaching. Maybe. I stood up slowly. 72-year-old, knees protesting. Come on, let's get out of here. I'll buy you lunch. Dad, you don't have to. I know I don't have to. I want to. Your mother would want us to eat something. Probably complain that we're both too skinny. We went to Eleanor's favorite diner. The one on 5th Street that made pie from scratch. Ordered too much food. Talked about memories. Marcus told stories I'd forgotten. I told stories he'd never heard. Around 3, Marcus's phone buzzed. He looked at it. Sighed. Jennifer, asking where I am. What are you gonna tell her? The truth. That I'm with my dad. That I'm done pretending we're something we're not. He typed quickly. Hit send. Set the phone face down on the table. Mom loved you a lot. The way she wrote that letter. The way she protected you. I love her too. Still do. I know. Everyone knew. You two were the real deal. The kind of love people write songs about. We had our fights. Don't romanticize it. But you fought fair. You fought, and then you made up and you moved on. You didn't keep score. He pushed pie around his plate. Jen kept score. I didn't see it at first, but she kept track of every dollar I spent, every time I chose your mom over her plans, every perceived slight. She was building a case. Some people love like that, I said. They love with conditions. Your mother taught me that real love doesn't have conditions. It just exists. Like breathing. We finished eating. Split the check despite my protests. Stood in the parking lot by our cars. December sun was setting early, turning the sky orange and pink. Eleanor's favorite colors. What are you going to do now? Marcus asked. With the house and everything? Live in it. At least for a while. Your mother and I built a life there. I'm not ready to leave it yet. But eventually? Eventually maybe I'll travel. She always wanted to see Montana. Said the mountains out there were something special. Maybe I'll take that trip for both of us. Marcus hugged me. Tight. I love you, Dad. Love you too, son. Your mother will be proud of you today. The way you stood up. The way you chose yourself. She'd be proud of both of us. I drove home as the sun set completely. The house waited in darkness again. But this time it felt different. Less empty. More peaceful. Inside, I turned on just the kitchen light. Made tea. Sat at the table. Pulled out Eleanor's letter again. Read it one more time. Trust me, she'd written. I folded the letter carefully. Put it in the drawer where I kept important things. Next to our wedding photos and Marcus's baby pictures, and the ticket stubs from our first date 53 years ago. The house settled around me. Familiar sounds. But underneath them, something new. Not exactly happiness. Not yet, but maybe the beginning of it. The possibility of it. Eleanor had protected me one last time. Had seen clearly what I'd been too kind to acknowledge. Had made sure I'd be okay. More than okay. I looked at her empty chair across from me. Thank you, I said to the silence. For everything. For all of it. The chair didn't answer, but I could almost hear her voice anyway. That laugh she had. That way she'd say my name when I was being stubborn, or sweet, or impossibly dense. My phone buzzed. Text from Marcus. Got a call from Jennifer's lawyer. They're not contesting the will. She's done. We're free. I typed back. Good. Come over Sunday for dinner. I'll make your mom's pot roast. Can't wait. Love you. Love you too. I set down the phone, looked around the kitchen. At the counters Eleanor had picked out. At the curtains she'd sewn herself. At the marks on the doorframe where we'd measured Marcus's height every birthday until he was 18. This was home. Not because of the building or the furniture or the equity, but because Eleanor's love had soaked into every wall. Her kindness had settled into the foundation. Her laughter had echoed in these rooms for 47 years. And it would keep echoing. In my memories, in Marcus's stories, in the lives of all the people she'd helped and all the animals she'd saved and all the quiet moments of grace she'd given to a world that rarely noticed. Jennifer had wanted the house, the money, the things, but she'd never understood that those were just objects, placeholders. What mattered was invisible, was love and memory and the way Eleanor had lived every single day with purpose and kindness. That night, I slept better. Not well. Grief doesn't work that way, but better. And when I woke up at 4 a.m, instead of lying there aching, I got up, made coffee, sat in the living room, and watched dawn arrive. The letter Eleanor had left me said something else at the very end, something I'd skipped over in all the other readings. P.S. William, I left something for you in my jewelry box. The blue one on my dresser. Don't open it until you're ready. But when you are, you'll understand. Love always, E. I'd forgotten about that. The will reading had pushed everything else out of my head. I went upstairs, stood in our bedroom, her side of the bed still untouched, her slippers still by the closet, everything exactly where she'd left it. The jewelry box sat on her dresser, blue enamel with silver clasps. She'd had it since college. I'd given it to her for her 21st birthday, back when we were just dating and broke and hopeful. I opened it carefully. Inside, the usual things. Her wedding ring, which the hospital had given back to me. Her mother's pearls. The cheap bracelet Marcus had made her in 3rd grade that she'd worn more than anything expensive I'd ever bought her. And underneath everything, a small envelope. My name on the front, in Eleanor's handwriting. I sat on the bed, opened it. Another letter. Shorter this time. My dearest William, if you're reading this, enough time has passed that you're starting to heal. I'm glad. You deserve to heal. You deserve to live. I need you to know something important. I'm not really gone. I'm in every sunset we watch together. Every cup of coffee you drink too strong. Every time Marcus laughs, that's my laugh in him. Every act of kindness you do, that's us still together, still making the world better. Don't cry for me too long. I had 70 years of an extraordinary life. I had you. I had Marcus. I had love and purpose and meaning. Not everyone gets that. I was lucky. You made me lucky. So now it's your turn. Live, William. Really live. Fall in love again if you can. Travel. Try new things. Be brave. Be foolish. Be young, even though you're old. And when your time comes, whenever that is, I'll be waiting. We'll have coffee, yours too strong, mine too sweet, and I want to hear everything. Every adventure. Every moment. Don't make me wait for boring stories. Give me something good. All my love, forever and always, your Eleanor. I sat there holding that letter as morning light filled the room. Crying. Not sad tears exactly. Something else. Something that felt like permission. Like release. Eleanor had given me one last gift. Not money. Not things. But freedom. Freedom from guilt. Freedom to live. Freedom to be happy again someday, without feeling like I was betraying her memory. That afternoon, I called a travel agent, the one on Main Street that still existed somehow in the age of internet booking. I want to go to Montana, I said, somewhere with mountains, somewhere beautiful. The agent, a woman named Susan, who was probably 50 and had that efficient kindness of someone who'd been doing her job well for decades, pulled up options. When were you thinking? Soon. A week. 2 weeks. Whenever works. This is pretty last minute for the holidays. I know, but I need to do this now, before I lose my nerve. She understood. Didn't ask questions. Just found me a place. A cabin outside Whitefish. Mountains. Lakes. Snow. Everything Eleanor had dreamed about. It's beautiful there, Susan said. You'll love it. My wife would have loved it. I'm sure she would have. Susan's voice was gentle. Take lots of pictures. I booked it. 2 weeks in January. After the holidays, but before the worst winter weather. Time to see something new. Time to live a story Eleanor would want to hear. Sunday came. Marcus arrived at 4 with groceries. We cooked together. Eleanor's pot roast recipe. The one she'd learned from her mother and made every Sunday for 30 years. While the roast cooked, we sat in the living room. How are you doing? Marcus asked. Really? I'm okay. Getting there. I told him about Montana. About the cabin. His face lit up. Dad, that's great. That's really great. Come with me if you want. If you can get the time off. I can in January. New project at work. But maybe I'll visit later. We could make it a thing. An annual trip. I'd like that. The pot roast came out perfect. We ate at the table. Set a place for Eleanor even though she wasn't there. Old habit. It felt right. After dinner, Marcus showed me photos on his phone. The divorce papers he'd filed. The apartment he was looking at. A fresh start. Jennifer's moved out already, he said. She's staying with that guy she mentioned. The one from her meeting. How do you feel about that? Relieved, honestly. It means she's someone else's problem now. He paused. That sounds mean. Sounds honest. Mom taught me it's okay to be honest. She said lying to be polite just hurts more people in the long run. Your mother was smart about people. Took me years to figure that out. She knew within 5 minutes of meeting someone whether they were genuine or performing. She didn't like Jennifer from the start, did she? No, but she tried. Gave her chance after chance. Your mother believed people could grow. When they didn't, she believed in protecting the people she loved. That's what the will was. Protection. Marcus nodded slowly. I'm going to use the money for something good. Maybe go back to school. Take those photography courses Mom mentioned. She'd love that. She always said you had an eye for beauty. I got that from her. We cleaned up together. Washed dishes side by side the way I used to do with Eleanor. The kitchen felt full in a way it hadn't since she died. Not the same. Nothing would ever be the same again. But full in a new way. A different way. A good way. Marcus left around 9. Hugged me at the door. Same time next week? Same time next week. I watched his taillights disappear down the street. Closed the door. Turned back to the house that was just mine now. Mine and Eleanor's memories. The weeks passed. Christmas came and went quietly. Just Marcus and me. We went to his new apartment, small but clean, and cooked together. Watched old movies. Didn't talk much about Jennifer or the will or any of it. Just existed together the way families should. New Year's Eve, I stayed up until midnight. First time in years. Made a resolution standing in my kitchen with a glass of Eleanor's favorite wine. I'm going to live, I said out loud to the empty room. Really live. Like you asked. January arrived cold and gray. The day before my Montana trip, I packed my suitcase. Warm clothes. Camera. The letter Eleanor had written. Couldn't leave that behind. Marcus drove me to the airport. Call me when you land. Let me know you got there safe. I'm 72, not 12. I know, but humor me. You're all the family I've got left. You've got yourself. That's more important than you think. The flight was smooth. 3 hours from Chicago to Montana. I pressed my face to the window like a kid, watching mountains appear through clouds. Eleanor had been right. They were something special. The cabin was perfect. Small, 1 bedroom, with stove. Windows facing a lake that was frozen solid and dusted with snow. Mountains rising behind it like guardians. I unpacked slowly, hung my clothes, made the bed, built a fire in the stove, sat in the 1 armchair, and just looked out at the view. That night, I cooked a simple dinner. Soup from a can. Toast. Nothing fancy. But I ate it at the small table by the window, watching the sunset paint the mountains pink and orange and purple. Eleanor's colors. You were right, I said to her to the mountains, to whatever existed beyond this world. This is something special. The days develop their own rhythm. Wake up early, make coffee, sit by the window and watch the sunrise, walk around the lake. The cold was sharp but clean, made me feel alive in a way Chicago's damp cold never did. I took pictures, hundreds of them, mountains, trees, the way light hit the frozen lake, a deer that appeared one morning and stood watching me like I was a strange thing in his world. Maybe I was. On the fourth day, I met another person, a woman, maybe 65, with silver hair pulled back in a practical ponytail. She was walking the opposite direction around the lake. We nodded at each other. Standard stranger acknowledgement. The next day, same thing. This time she smiled. Nice morning. Beautiful? I agreed. The day after that, we stopped, talked for a few minutes. Her name was Catherine. She was staying in a cabin on the other side of the lake. Widow, 2 years. Here because her daughter had insisted she needed to do something for herself. I wasn't going to come, she said. Seemed selfish. But my daughter said grief doesn't mean you stop living. My wife said something similar. In a letter, after she passed. Catherine nodded, understanding passing between us, without need for details. It's hard. Starting over. Yeah, it really is. We walked together that morning. Talked about safe things. The weather, the mountains, the strange quiet of winter in Montana. At the fork where the path split toward our separate cabins, we paused. Same time tomorrow? Catherine asked, hesitant, not assuming. I like that. She smiled, walked away. I watched her go, feeling something unexpected. Not attraction exactly, just connection. The reminder that other humans existed. That conversations with living people felt different than conversations with memories. That night, I called Marcus. Told him about the mountains and the walks and the quiet. You sound good, Dad. Different. I feel different. Your mother was right. About all of it. About needing to live. I'm proud of you. For going. For trying. I'm proud of you too. For standing up. For choosing yourself. After we hung up, I sat by the window with Eleanor's letter. Read it again. Fall in love again if you can. She'd written. Not if you want. If you can. Like she knew it might happen. Like she was giving permission. Catherine and I walked together every morning after that. Conversations got deeper. She'd lost her husband to a heart attack. Sudden. No warning. Just gone one Tuesday morning while reading the newspaper. I was angry for a long time, she said. Angry at him for leaving. Angry at myself for being angry. Angry at the world for continuing like nothing had changed. I know that anger, I said. The feeling that everyone else gets to keep living while your person is gone. Exactly. She stopped walking. Looked at me. Does it get better? People say it does, but I can't see it yet. I thought about Eleanor. About the house. About the will reading in Montana and this moment right here. It doesn't get better exactly. It gets different. The grief becomes part of you instead of being all of you. And if you're lucky, if you let yourself, you find new things that matter alongside the old things that still matter. Catherine's eyes were wet. Thank you for being honest. We walked the rest of the way in comfortable silence. On my last day in Montana, Catherine and I met for coffee at a small cafe in town. Real coffee, not cabin instant. We sat by the window. Watched tourists walk by in expensive ski gear. You're leaving tomorrow, she said. Statement, not question. Yeah, back to Chicago. Back to reality. Will you? She paused. Stirred her coffee even though she hadn't added anything. Would it be okay if I got your number? Not for anything weird. Just, it's nice talking to someone who understands. I pulled out my phone. We exchanged numbers. Email addresses too, because we were old and that's how our generation stayed connected. I'll be back, I said. Maybe in spring. The cabin owner said I could book it again. I'm here every other month. My daughter lives in Kalispell. I visit her, then stay here for a week or two. Helps me think. Maybe we'll overlap. I'd like that. We finished our coffee, walked back to our cars, hugged briefly, awkward but real. Thank you, Catherine said, for the walks, for being kind. Thank you for reminding me I'm still capable of meeting new people. The flight home felt different than the flight out. I was going back to the same house, the same life, but I was different. Something had shifted. Some weight had lifted. Marcus picked me up from the airport. You look tan. How is that possible? It's winter. Mountain sun. Reflects off the snow. We drove home through Chicago traffic. Gray slush piled on highway shoulders. Such a contrast to Montana's clean white snow. But it was familiar. It was home. The house waited exactly as I'd left it. Marcus had checked on it while I was gone. Made sure the pipes didn't freeze. Brought in the mail. There's a lot of mail, he warned. Most of it junk. But there's something from the hospital. From the Cancer Research Fund. I found in the pile. Thick envelope. Inside, a letter thanking me for Eleanor's donation. Explaining what they do with the money. Research. Patient support. Hope. There were photos too. Patients who'd benefited from similar donations. A woman maybe 40, bald from chemo, but smiling. Her 2 kids holding signs that said thank you. A man, older, ringing a bell to celebrate his last treatment. Eleanor's money was doing that. Giving people chances. Giving families more time together. I put the letter on the refrigerator. Held it there with a magnet. Life continued. Sunday dinners with Marcus became routine. Not obligation, choice. He'd bring groceries. I'd cook. We'd talk about our weeks. Please like, comment, and share. If this is your first time watching my video, don't forget to subscribe to my channel so you'll be notified whenever I post a new story.